Taking our 10th spot is Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay got her start in Disney's late 90s The Parent Trap remake, and since Lindsay grasped the ability to launch herself from child stardom into a successful teen acting career. Popular early 2000s movies like Freaky Friday and Mean Girls certified the actress as a true starlet, but then she wound up down a long road of mistakes, including DUIs. Once the bad press circulating her life began, reports speculated Lindsay was broke. In 2016, she went through a brutal back and forth with her ex-fiance about which one of them was the deadweight in their relationship. The year prior, Lindsay's net worth was reportedly $500,000-ish. However, the star has risen in financial success since her former losses and has been reclaiming great roles in films and shows as of late. Last month, Lindsay and her MG co-star Amanda Seyfried partook in a mini reunion with Interview magazine. They shared their thoughts about the possibility of a second film when asked about an official one, and Amanda gushed that she would for a week of them taking their own roles on Broadway. Lindsay agreed, detailing how fun it would be to reunite with their original cast. Before we jump into number 9, like today's Where Are They Now to keep our fun top 10 countdowns going. Taking our 9th spot is Aaron Carter. During Lindsay's peak fame, she actually dated this late singer, and he too faced monetary challenges during the years of his initial peak. As the younger brother of Backstreet Boy Nick Carter, Aaron experienced numerous quick brushes with fame from the late 90s into the early 2000s. However, his legal woes started up not too long after this. In terms of producing, he couldn't score a major hit and struggled to stay on the public's radar outside of his Dancing with the Stars stint. In 2013, reports flew about that Aaron owed the IRS over $2 million, but he did later pay this off. As of the past holiday, Aaron's on-off fiancee Melanie Martin and the remaining one-year-old son Prince honored the late star on Christmas. Melanie took to social media to remember her partner, sharing a reel packed with moments from their bittersweet occasion. Her caption stated, "We can no longer see you with our eyes, but we can feel you in our heart forever." In the post, Melanie held Prince while smiling at the lens. She signed off to Aaron with, "Love your mini-me and honey." Taking our 8th spot is Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay, who is arguably most popular for his Kevin McAllister role in the Home Alone film franchise, unfortunately went down a dark spiral after his 2007 arrest for controlled substance. The star, who was once one of the most successful child actors ever, was locked up for a short while due to this. Currently, reports detail how Macaulay received a much larger pay from Home Alone 2 than what he was making in the first film. Macaulay was obviously a huge star after Home Alone's initial success, so it makes sense that this led to a sequel and he got an upgraded pay. But the amount he scored for the Christmas classic's second movie is damn near astonishing. Because Lost in New York was another big hit, Macaulay needed a much bigger paycheck to come back. As per the things, Macaulay was paid $100,000 for portraying Kevin in the first. His star power, which came from this, led him to command more finances. So when Home Alone 2 made its return for filming, Macaulay ended up being paid approximately $4.5 million to star in the sequel, which is absolutely massive compared to the fee he just received a couple years prior. Taking our 7th spot is Shia LaBeouf. Shia was another huge early successor thanks to Disney Channel series like Even Stevens and famed films including Transformers, Holes, and Disturbia. However, like many other child stars, Shia also struggled for a long while. Some of his past offenses include being arrested for refusing to leave Walgreens, road rage, and assault with a deadly weapon. He seems to be a bit more level-headed nowadays though, and was most recently captured doing some last-minute Christmas shopping with his wife Mia Goth and their young daughter Isabel. The family was out in the town of Pasadena, California, and Shia and Mia held coffees as they prepped themselves to hit the shops ahead of the festive break. The couple welcomed Isabel this past March following their initial expected announcement in February. Shia and Mia began dating in 2012, tying the knot in Las Vegas in 2016, but went through a brief divorce period 2 years later, where Shia was romantically involved with actress Margaret Qualley and artist FKA Twigs at that point. Taking our 6th spot is Amanda Bynes. Amanda was a grand staple in Nickelodeon, specifically because of The Amanda Show, as her life revolved around the world of kid and comedy series. As she matured though, she ran into several issues with the law, including hit and runs, DUIs, and more. Towards the end of December, Amanda was captured rocking a casual look while running errands in LA. The former actress donned a vintage Dare tank, leggings, ballerina flats, and a blue see-through shoulder bag on her solo outing. Since her time in the spotlight, Amanda dipped out on fame to attend cosmetology school for her nail technician's license following the termination of her 9-year conservatorship. Taking our 5th spot is Dustin Diamond. This late Saved by the Bell actor vanished from the public eye until he resurfaced in 2006 with the release of his self-directed, self-starring adult film. At the same time, Dustin made appearances on Celebrity Fit Club and moved on to release a controversial semi-autobiographical novel titled Behind the Bell, which detailed his time thrust into the spotlight. Due to legal troubles, Dustin's net worth at the time was estimated to sit at about $50,000. Before his death, Dustin apparently preferred to be cremated and buried without a gravestone. Several weeks after his passing from stage 4 lung cancer, Dustin's close friend Dan Block exclusively informed The Sun of Dustin's wishes to not have a headstone that people can mess with. Dan, who was also by Dustin's side as he passed, added he did not want to have a big funeral, so it's just going to be a memorial with a few family and friends. Taking our 4th spot is Jamie Foxworth. The Family Matters Judy Winslow actress's time on TV was brief, and her life very much fumbled down the road. Starting as a child model, Jamie's Family Matters character was suddenly written off the show's 4th season with no explanation, and Jamie was never able to make a Hollywood comeback after this. Her family reportedly went broke, which forced Jamie into adult entertainment to make a living, acting under the name Crave. After departing from the industry, Jamie made a celebrity rehab with Dr. Drew appearance, sobered up, and welcomed her son in 2009. In May 2020, Jamie officially hit her 40s, and she still looks amazing despite all her past troubles. In a then new Instagram post, Jamie uploaded a stunning selfie of her wearing a black tank and printed leggings. Her face was all glammed up, and the snap was supported with the quoted caption, "I'm humble, but trust me, I know I'm some pressure." Taking our 3rd spot is Gabby Hoffman. Gabby's upbringing was detailed to be strange, as she spent the majority of her youth living in Manhattan's Chelsea Hotel. Gabby started acting when she was quite young, making appearances in movies like Sleepless in Seattle and Field of Dreams. She spent her teen years acting in New York as well, partaking in theater work while studying at college. In a 2013 New York Times interview, Gabby outright claimed she only had $2 in her bank account. This was later corrected by the actress to actually be a couple thousand, but she guaranteed she wasn't obtaining much work. However, at this point, she was already in the middle of making a comeback. Shortly after this, Gabby landed a recurring part on Girls and bagged a role in Amazon's acclaimed series Transparent. In July 2022, the 90s child star hit her 40s and is still absolutely thriving. She's still friends with her now and then co-star Christina Ricci, and she still resides in California with her 2 children and longtime partner. Currently, she portrays a grandmother on HBO's drama Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. Taking our 2nd spot is Natasha Lyonne. Natasha is most popular for playing Nikki on Orange is the New Black, but she started acting very young, taking on roles in films such as Dennis the Menace and Everyone Says I Love You. Continuing to act into her teen years, Natasha's American Pie role soon became her most memorable. Following a series of substance and legal incidents, Natasha wound up hospitalized in 2005. She truly lost it all and was deemed unemployable for several years before sobering up and bouncing back. In July 2022, Natasha was photographed with a bulky mystery man in New York, months after she confirmed her former split from her longtime relationship with Fred Armisen. The duo strolled arm in arm on their way to a Broadway show with notable smiles on their faces. And despite the identity of the mystery man remaining a secret, the pair first sparked romance rumors last fall when they were caught hand-holding in Malibu, California, in which the PDA-packed outing had fans questioning her relationship status of 8 years prior. Taking our 1st spot is Jodie Sweetin. Jodie's life started with hardships as both of her parents were locked up. Her aunt and uncle adopted her, and Jodie eventually landed her first role at age 5. She played Stephanie Tanner on the hit family series Full House. Jodie was a staple for all 8 seasons of the series, however, once it wrapped, she began to spiral. She received very few acting jobs and turned to hard substances. After getting clean, an opportunity presented itself for Jodie to get back onto the small screen. This was for the Netflix revival series Fuller House. As of now, Jodie prioritizes being an ally for LGBTQ+, even if people don't exactly like it. In an ET exclusive for the Rap's recent Power Women Summit, the actress opened up about her position as a passionate advocate for targeted and marginalized groups. Jodie continues to use her platform and voice to push for equality as much as she can, regardless of how critics may feel. On this, Jodie explained feeling so honored and lucky that I get to be at the forefront and to have these discussions. For Jodie, having a public platform to advocate for change is an opportunity she absolutely does not want to waste. But according to public sources, Candace Cameron Bure was one of those who were upset with Jodie's public display of disapproval.
Coming in at number 10 is Christina Ricci. Christina Ricci is one of the few 90s stars that took that fame and ran with it, literally just never stopping. She is really killing it. Ricci made her film debut in 1990's Mermaid when she was just 9 years old, and the very next year she landed the role of Wednesday Addams in both The Addams Family in 1991 and Addams Family Values in 1993, which are two of my favorite movies when I was growing up, I can't lie. She also starred in Casper in 1995. Like I said, she hasn't stopped though. Some of my favorites from her long list of credits include Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas in 1998, Sleepy Hollow in 1999, Monster in 2003, Black Snake Moan in 2006, and you may not agree, but man, Speed Racer from 2008 has got a special place in my heart, I don't care. Christina has had roles in television, on Broadway, voice acting, and she is also the national spokesperson for the RAI National Network. Number 9. Macaulay Culkin. Ah, yes, the one a bunch of you guys seem to think that I look like for some reason. But Macaulay Culkin is probably best known for his breakout roles in both Home Alone and Home Alone 2: Lost in New York, where he played Kevin McAllister, which got him nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actor. His Home Alone roles led to him getting roles in My Girl in 1991, The Good Son, and The Nutcracker in 1993, and Getting Even with Dad, The Pagemaster, and Richie Rich in 1994. Now, following Richie Rich, Culkin took a break from acting to try and live a normal life, but he would return in 2000 to the theater, returning to film a few years later with films like Saved and Sex and Breakfast, as well as guest starring on Will and Grace and Robot Chicken. He has had a run-in with the law in relation to substances back in 2004, and his relationship with his parents has always been a point of contention with the star. In 2013, he formed the band The Pizza Underground, which is a comedy parody group of the Velvet Underground with lyrics about pizza. Number 8. Leonardo DiCaprio. It's definitely easy to forget that Leo got his start as a 90s child actor. I mean, at least if you were born after the 2000s it is. DiCaprio's first major roles included guest starring on The New Lassie, Santa Barbara, and Roseanne, before landing roles in sitcoms like Parenthood and the last season of Growing Pains. But it all pretty much changed when he starred alongside Robert De Niro in 1993's This Boy's Life. The rest is pretty much history, as throughout the 90s Leonardo DiCaprio would go on to have leading and large roles in films like What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Titanic, and Romeo and Juliet, all before he even turned 18. Now, he is one of the first names some people think of when they think of Hollywood, having been Oscar nominated for Best Actor a large handful of times for films like The Wolf of Wall Street, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Blood Diamond, The Aviator, and even winning for The Revenant. There's also his dating life, which has become a bit more of a controversial topic for the now 47-year-old actor. Hey, if you guys are liking what you're seeing, don't forget to like this video to show us your support. And in at number 7 is Kenan Thompson. If you have watched Saturday Night Live past 2003, then you know who Kenan Thompson is. And if you don't, well, you should. Over the course of 20 seasons of the comedy sketch show, the longest tenured cast member ever, he's been nominated for 4 Primetime Emmys, winning one for his contribution in the sketch Comeback Barack. He is also the longest serving African-American cast member, surpassing Tim Meadows, and he also holds the record for most celebrity impressions performed on the show, performing 139 different impressions. Since 2021, he even has his own sitcom on Hulu, literally called Kenan. Kenan Thompson actually got his start as one of the original cast members of a different sketch comedy show, Nickelodeon's All That, in 1994. This show is where Kenan would often co-star with Kel Mitchell, and together they would go on to have their own sitcom show, Kenan and Kel, from 1996 to 2000. He had a few other films including The Mighty Ducks and Fat Albert. Thompson received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on August 11, 2022, and it was placed next to Lorne Michaels' star, who referred to Thompson as the person I most rely on in the cast of SNL. Number 6. Taj Mowry. Now, a lot of you may not know Taj Mowry, but he played the lead character, child prodigy TJ Henderson, in WB/Disney Channel's 1997 sitcom Smart Guy. And that was one of my most favorite shows growing up, and like no one talks about it. Taj is actually the younger brother of 2 other child stars, Tia and Tamara Mowry, who I think usually get more recognition, but Who cares? After Smart Guy, Mowry would go on to actually voice the super genius character of Wade Lode on Kim Possible. Before all of that, he actually had a recurring role on Full House as well. Like a lot of Disney child actors, Taj floated around performing in a bunch of Disney-related shows, movies, and miscellaneous productions, but found himself appearing in other shows as well, like Desperate Housewives as an example. He has had some experience in the music industry as well, releasing a 7-track EP. He's a little bit lesser known than a lot of the stars on this list, but I don't care, I think he's dope. Number 5. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Combo! Not just one, but two, count 'em, two child stars wrapped up into a combo that most of us know as the Olsen twins. Now, technically these twins actually got their start in the late 80s, being cast together as Michelle Tanner on the ABC sitcom Full House at the age of 6 months old. They couldn't actually film until they were 9 months old, but they re-swapped out to conform with child labor laws and played the character on the show all the way up until 1995. These two kids were put to work. Now, while filming Full House, the two would have roles in film and TV, including To Grandmother's House We Go in 1992, and then under their dual-star company, they would star in 1993's Double Double Toil and Trouble and 1994's How the West Was Fun. Over the years, they have grown and taken control of their dual-star company to make the list of wealthiest women in the world. The pair have actually retired from the screen around 2004-ish, shifting their focus to fashion design and launching their own luxury fashion label, The Row. They were named Women's Wear Designer of the Year by the Council of Fashion Designers of America in 2012 and 2015. Number 4. Mara Wilson. You'll recognize Mara Wilson as the youngest girl in Mrs. Doubtfire from 1993, which skyrocketed her into being able to snag a bunch of roles right off the cuff, including Nikki Petrova in Melrose Place and Barbara Barton in the television film A Time to Heal. She even performed a song at the 67th Academy Awards alongside Tim Curry in 1995. And that same year, she won the Show West Award for Young Star of the Year. But I think her biggest role would come in the form of the title character in Danny DeVito's Matilda from 1996, which got her nominated for 3 awards and winning the Young Star Award for Best Performance by a Young Actress in a Comedy Film. She actually retired from film acting in 2000 after appearing in Thomas and the Magic Railroad, and instead focused on her education and pursuing writing, theater work, and other entertainment projects outside of film. Mara has been a huge supporter of other child stars, coming to the defense of those like Millie Bobby Brown, and being one of the more composed and mature child stars to make their way into adulthood. Number 3. Haley Joel Osment. Haley Joel Osment got his start in Hollywood in a huge movie, 1994's Forrest Gump as Tom Hanks' Forrest's eventual son with Jenny. Like this video if you also think Jenny is a horrible person. Please like this video, because she's kind of the worst. Anyway, Osment then went on to really knock it out of the park in 1999's The Sixth Sense, which won him a Saturn Award and earned him nominations for an Academy Award, a Golden Globe Award, and Screen Actors Guild Award, and so much more. It was likely his role in this film, plus a few others, that had him become Steven Spielberg's one and only casting choice to play the artificially intelligent, childlike robot David in his film AI Artificial Intelligence in 2001, which won Osment another Saturn Award. Since breaking into Hollywood, he actually got a long-running video game role as Sora in Square Enix's Kingdom Hearts series, with 12 credits for just that series alone, plus one more in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. His list of credits is super long and super impressive, and he's still killing it at just 34 years old. Number 2. Ryan Gosling. It's probably bad, but I actually had no idea Gosling was a 90s child star. But he was, and that's how he got his start, moving up the ladder a lot like Leo did to become a huge, critically acclaimed name in Hollywood and winning so many awards and nominations that Wikipedia has a page solely dedicated to just that topic. In 1993, he became a prominent child star on Disney Channel's The Mickey Mouse Club, and went on to appear on other kids shows like Are You Afraid of the Dark in 1995 and Goosebumps in 1996. But in complete stark contrast to that, he starred in 2001's The Believer, which is a very mature movie. His other early film credits include indie films like Murder by the Numbers and The Slaughter Rule, both in 2002. So yeah, he went from Disney to dark as hell, but look where he is now. On top of film, Gosling's band, Dead Man's Bones, released their self-titled debut album and toured North America in 2009. He also co-owns Tagine, a Moroccan restaurant in Beverly Hills. He is a supporter of PETA, Invisible Children, and the Enough Project, and has traveled to Chad, Uganda, and Eastern Congo, being involved in peace promotion efforts in Africa for over a decade. And in at number 1 is Anna Paquin. Okay, I learned a bunch of things that I had absolutely no idea about Anna Paquin here. For starters, I had no idea she was from New Zealand. And secondly, when she made her acting debut as Flora McGrath in the romantic drama film The Piano from 1993, she literally won an Oscar. At the age of 11, she won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, the second youngest winner in history. So obviously you can imagine this got her career started on a really high note. She would go on to win multiple Young Artist Award nominations for her roles in Fly Away Home in 1996, The Member of the Wedding in 1997, and A Walk on the Moon in 1999. Not to mention a nomination for the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture for appearing in Cameron Crowe's comedy drama film Almost Famous in the year 2000. She also appeared in the films Jane Eyre in 1996 and Amistad in 1997, and that's all in the 90s since she started her career in 1993. That's insane. Obviously, she went forward and killed it as Rogue in Fox's X-Men franchise starting in 2000 and has accrued multiple award-winning roles in various films since then. And she was the lead character in 7 seasons of HBO's True Blood. I barely scratched the surface, but damn, Anna. Good lord.
Taking our 10th spot is Britney Spears. 90s pop icon Britney was thriving in her time, but she momentarily hit rock bottom before making a widely talked about comeback. Through all that, Britney's undergone a stunning transformation and is pretty unrecognizable from her younger days. Her glittery pop culture career saw troubled storms for a long while though, and the Grammy-winning singer's sweet image slowly withered away due to reported mental health issues in the 2000s. There was also the awful custody battle with her ex for her son. But this didn't stop Britney from bouncing back in both her professional and personal life. Even though she no longer holds onto that girl next door image, and she's currently wrapped up in an odd little public spat with her sister, Jamie Lynn, she's still breaking records only possible from a true queen. Before we jump into number 9, click the notification bell if you aren't already updated on our content to get notified every time we post. Taking our 9th spot is Alicia Silverstone. This iconic actress is best known for her leading role in the timeless 90s flick Clueless, gaining mega fame overnight for her portrayal of Cher Horowitz. And while Alicia is no young girl anymore, however what she is pretty unrecognizable. Thanks to her older, more mature looks, she's more recently taken on a mom role rather than that of a teen, playing Christy's parent in Netflix's modern reboot of The Babysitter's Club. The series pays homage to the popular book series from the 90s, penned by author Anne M. Martin. As a parent to children in real life, Alicia previously reflected on how the part hits close to home for her during an interview. Quote, "It's such a different existence when you have kids and you're working, and if you're alone too as a single mom, which my character is, and I am too. It's a lot." Taking our 8th spot is Christina Aguilera. Christina was one of the 90s biggest stars, but nowadays you may have to do a double take to spot her in the large crowd. Of course, like many others, she's matured and now has 2 children. Christina was one of the many celeb alums of the famed 90s Mickey Mouse Club franchise though. However, according to Billboard, the powerhouse singer went from a gentle teen to a quote braid-flaunting diva in the time span of a few years. Since this, Christina has been able to see few reinventions for herself, slowly but surely settling into a stripped-back vibe overall. Through her prime days, Christina kept herself busy. She dropped a handful of albums, took on multiple world tours, was on the judging panel for The Voice for several years, and purchased a Beverly Hills Mediterranean-style mansion. As of September 2020, Christina fell into a more low-key life within the industry. Her biggest focus is being a mom, a role she takes quite seriously as she goes all out for her kids. Her son, Max Liren, is shared with her ex-husband Jordan Bratman, and her daughter, Summer Rain, was welcomed alongside her fiance of over a decade, Matthew Rutler. Taking our 7th spot is Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo is another 90s teen star who's leading a normal life but looks completely different now. If you grew up in his thriving decade, chances are you and everyone you knew loved this guy. Leonardo is arguably the poster man of a 90s heartthrob, and his physical appeal around the time he was a star of Titanic was unmatched. However, Leonardo actually refers to that portion of his life as surreal, telling Time Out, "It was bizarre. I took a break for a couple of years because it was so intense. I needed to recharge and refocus." Leonardo has surely grown wiser and older since, and many even said he's developed quite the dad bod. But let's not be surprised here. He's still acting as much as he can in his quieter lifestyle. Taking our 6th spot is Nick Carter. Nick, who began his entertainment industry job at 11 years old, looks unreal now compared to his younger days. He's traded in his perfectly styled blonde hair for a darker, sleeker adult cut and has 2 kids. He also recently lost one of his siblings, singer Aaron Carter, back in November. But before all this, Nick was just a young boy who made the life-changing decision to turn down his Mickey Mouse Club series offer to join the Backstreet Boys. From the get-go, Nick was loved across the globe thanks to his singing and dancing skills alongside being good-looking. With the success of the widely popular band Backstreet Boys, Nick soared directly into the bright lights of Hollywood. Even though he's physically unrecognizable, fans are still blessed with him fulfilling his biggest passion of making music. And despite the drama he faced over the years, Nick built up his family, where he and his wife have remained together ever since their first blind date back in 2008, later tying the knot in 2014. Their first child, Odin, was born in 2016, and their daughter was welcomed in 2019. Taking our 5th spot is Justin Timberlake. Like Nick, Justin was mega famous because of his addition to another widely successful band in his time. Nowadays, Justin may look pretty unrecognizable, but back in the 90s, he and Britney were the power couple of the industry, and he sported his signature mop curls and denim-on-denim fits as the focal point of NSYNC. As of today, Justin is a sophisticatedly refined family guy who is so very different from his youth. He's seen large amounts of success as a soloist and actor, changed up his hairstyle, and somehow continues to age like fine wine. As for Life and Style magazine, Justin and Jessica Biel got married in 2012 and shared 2 kids. For the most part, the star was able to avoid scandals for a long while, except for one night in 2019, a slip-up where he was caught holding hands with one of his co-stars while intoxicated. At that point, Justin had taken to social media to profusely express his regret, and Jessica eventually accepted his apology. He's pretty much managed to remain out of the media's negative crosshairs since. Taking our 4th spot is Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. The Olsen twins look shockingly different from their youth, emphasis on the shocking. Their transformation, though mostly physical, has also evolved in the career aspect as well. Nowadays, the sibling duo own a fashion label named The Row. However, before they got here, they were the tiny Full House stars who gained major fame and moved on to starring parts in films like It Takes Two, Billboard Dad, and Passport to Paris. The twin stars are amongst the most recognized teens in H-Town thanks to their kid-to-teen roles on both silver screens and standard TVs. Mary-Kate and Ashley very smartly adapted that fame into their adulthood too. They leveraged this to become successful and sophisticated women who still prefer to work as a team but also live separate lives as well. The Fashionistas co-founded their fashion label in 2006, and it offers a variety of retail clothing and accessories. Additionally, they kickstarted a vintage-esque label called Elizabeth and James in 2007, earning them well-respect in the fashion community. More so, Mary-Kate and Ashley were named Council of Fashion Designers of America's Accessories Designers of the Year in 2014, 2018, and 2019. Taking our 3rd spot is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. This 90s star has taken on the role of father nowadays, and he looks entirely unlike that of his past. Joseph's breakout into the Hollywood scene came about back when he was a baby-faced teenager. In a Variety Fair video segment, the actor sat down with the media outlet to break down his career, starting from A River Runs Through It and discussing his journey all the way to Inception. While Joseph revealed he was slightly embarrassed about his work in 10 Things I Hate About You, he only dished sweet things about the film's cast, as the group was said to have spent a lot of time bonding off set. As a sure grown-up now, Joseph is another 90s star who takes his parental role seriously. So much so that he talked about this with Jimmy Fallon on his Tonight Show, sharing, "I felt lucky I got to take some time off. I have 2 boys and it's the best." Although Joseph hasn't released lots of details regarding his sons, it was confirmed by People that his wife, Tasha McCulley, birthed their eldest in 2015, and the couple welcomed their youngest in 2017. Taking our 2nd spot is Kenan Thompson. Kenan is the 90s teen star who who completely changed the acting game. But do you know what else changed? His physical attributes. He's damn near unrecognizable nowadays with his regular Saturday Night Live appearances. Prior to becoming the adult he is now, Nickelodeon was pumping out all the teen sitcoms you could think of, and Kenan's show Kenan and Kel was no exception. And while Kel Mitchell didn't remain prominent in entertainment circles, Kenan for sure did. All grown up today, Kenan has successfully branded himself and his career in comedy and entertainment, and has even won numerous awards for his work. This includes the 2018 Emmy for his Comeback Barack SNL sketch. Kenan also launched a new self-titled series back in 2021. Kenan's most exciting drop though was for his fans of the 90s when he announced he'd be teaming back up with Kel to co-execute and produce an All That reboot. Taking our first spot is Tara Reid. Tara was the typical girl next door star through her additions to comedies including Josie and the Pussycats, American Pie, and Scrubs. The 90s is when Tara was said to have come to prominence. For a brief moment between the late 90s to early 2000s, Tara made appearances as a true all-American girl in party shows such as MTV's Fashionably Loud Spring Break, Paradise, and Cancun 2000. Not only this, but Tara has been dominating the meta-parody sci-fi Sharknado series, playing kick-ass survivor April Wexler opposite Ian Ziering from 2013 onwards. Tara has given credit for her character's popularity to Twitter users when she made a return in Sharknado: The Fourth Awakens. At the time, Sci-Fi questioned Twitter users to vote on whether April would live through the ending cliffhanger from the third film. More recently, in Sharknado 6, Tara made a reappearance as the time-traveling bionic-armed April in 2018. Taking our 10th spot is Raven-Symoné. Of course, our countdown starts off with the star of the show. Raven has been shining on Disney ever since the first episode of TSR aired, and the same can be said for the spin-off as she visioned her way on our TVs again for Raven's Home. Both shows have performed incredibly well during their respective times, with the latter running its course for a full 5 seasons currently. Not to mention, Raven is definitely a queen of Disney, as she was also a part of the widely successful teen franchise The Cheetah Girls. Her life also formerly consisted of being a co-host for ABC's The View. In other news, Raven recently dished about a potential Cheetah Girls reunion, which we are all very much here for, and here's what she said it'll take to officially get her on board. Talking about another possible movie in the future, Raven detailed that it naturally has to include her original co-stars and other CG members, Adrienne Bailon-Halton, Sabrina Bryan, and Keely Williams. This is even despite the fact that Raven was left out of their third movie despite starring in the first two, and Adrienne and Keely engaging in a bit of a fallout from their real-life girl group 3LW in the early 2000s. Raven played as their mediator at the time, and in 2020 she managed to make amends with Keely herself. For a bit more detail about the hopeful reunion though, Raven alluded to E! News that her close friend Adrienne would need to be there in order for Raven to even consider it. The pair most recently reunited on the set of Raven's Home due to Adrienne reprising her TSR role of Alana through multiple season 5 episodes. Raven and Adrienne also separately competed together in The Masked Singer's second season back in 2019. Now, before we jump into number 9, comment below your favorite That's So Raven star. Taking our 9th spot is Kyle Massey. Who could forget Raven's annoyingly funny younger brother, Corey Baxter? Exactly. If you're like me, meaning you have a younger brother as well, then you must know that Kyle played his role to a T, because sometimes I wanted to pull my hair out because of him. Kyle was fortunate enough to receive his own spin-off prior to Raven's Home titled Corey in the House, but the show was short-lived with cancellation after a single year. It still served as a fan favorite though, due to the comedic aspect and overall fun. More so, Kyle's time with Disney didn't just dry up here, because he went on to release several rapping songs under the company afterward. Kyle was also awarded as Dancing with the Stars' 11th season runner-up alongside his partner Lacey Schwimmer. Currently, the star has been maintaining a low profile because of a 2021 lawsuit in which Kyle was tried and charged with 1 count of immoral communication with a minor, according to Washington documents. According to reports, he's currently a California Creators Institute staff, which hosts a group of top content creators and influencers as per the organization's site. Taking our 8th spot is Annalise Vanderpool. Of course, That's So Raven wouldn't be exactly that without Raven's right-hand gal, Chelsea. The Ray and Chels duo were not only iconic, but simply loved by fans everywhere. It's a plus that Annalise was one of the few original TSR actors to make their comeback for Raven's Home. As another huge factor of Disney's channel in their early 2000 days, Annalise was also included in their circle of stars to record mainly pop renditions of classic Disney hits, like The Lion King's Circle of Life. Despite their there not being many updates on Annalise at the moment, she most recently made a starring appearance as Beauty and the Beast Belle on Broadway. Taking our 7th spot is Orlando Brown. Like Kyle, Orlando's more recent events measure up to mass disappointment. However, before this, Orlando was making young brown guys all over the globe proud with his full-of-life character Eddie, also known as Raven's other bestie on TSR. Nowadays though, Orlando is simply referred to as a ex-Disney star due to his series of high-profile arrests. In 2014, he threatened a woman and her daughter that he would end their lives. In 2016, he was detained on charges of domestic battery for putting his hands on his girlfriend. Then in 2018, we saw him locked up for hard substance possession. However, this time an odd but large neck tattoo of Raven was displayed in his mugshot. Orlando's most recent mugshot shows him flashing a grand smile after being handcuffed in Vegas on burglary charges, and that's just what we publicly know of. His Dr. Phil appearance after all this was a bit unsettling with his partially shaved eyebrows and snake eyes shaped contacts. Still, he tackled tough topics like him living on the streets, battling mental health issues, and fighting addiction during the visit. Here's to hoping Orlando's future starts to look up. Taking our 6th spot is Takia Crystal Kima. Takia portrayed Raven's mom, Tanya Baxter, in the series, and to say the least, her performance over the years was nothing short of great. So it definitely came as a shock to fans when Tanya didn't make any appearances in the show's final season. According to MTV reports at the time, Takia wasn't away at law school, but she actually left to take care of her grandmother who was suffering from Alzheimer's. Currently, Takia is an author and educator. Taking our 5th spot is Rondell Sheridan. The other half of Raven's parentals came from Rondell, who brought fans true joy through his hilarious portrayal of Victor Baxter in the series. Once TSR's run was completed, Rondell joined Kyle Massey to partake in Cory in the House, where his character was given a new position in the White House. As for Raven's Home, Rondell only made a few brief appearances towards the latter half of its airing. He has, though, done some directing work in both television shows and movies. However, the majority of his energy and time has been channeled into his stand-up comedy occupation in Chicago. And let's be real, no one can blame him. Like Victor, Rondell is effortlessly funny. Taking our 4th spot is Jonathan McDaniel, who portrayed Raven's crush and eventual husband and father of her children, Devon Carter. Devon served as the early 2000s perfect Prince Charming on TSR, with his once kiddishly cute looks slowly maturing into major handsomeness and an even sweeter personality to match. The transition from Raven's crush to her boyfriend in TSR, and then as her husband in Raven's Home, was natural and fan-favored, and Jonathan still makes occasional appearances in the latter. Jonathan was also featured on BET's sports drama Hit the Floor in the mid-2000s. Off-screen and similar to Raven, Jonathan is married to his wife, and they share 2 kids. Jonathan also signed himself to a London-based record label Prior, where he dropped 3 whole albums so far. Taking our 3rd spot is Sydney Park. Sydney was hired on TSR to play a Girl Scout of the same name, ironically, whom Raven mentors in 3 episodes between 2006 to 2007. When the pair first meet, Sydney hurls constant insults at Raven to embarrass her. As a starring actress, Sydney remembers booking her Disney role as one of her first when she got to Hollywood. Despite Sydney's role being brief, it's still one of her most recognized to date. Sydney once informed Shadow and Act that "I get recognized all the time for my role in That's So Raven. I always joke I'll be 80 years old and people will still stop me to say, 'Hey, are you that little girl from That's So Raven?'" Even though Sydney once agreed that joining Raven's Home would be a dream, it seems she had too much on her plate to feed into the nostalgia. Years following her time on the show, Sydney moved on to a lot of different successors, including Entourage, Sons of Tuscans, Nickelodeon's The Thundermans, Bella and the Bulldogs, and Mickey, Ricky, Dickie, and Dawn, YouTube Red's Lifeline, Netflix's Santa Clarita Diet and Spirit Riding Free, There's Someone Inside Your House, Moxie, and most recently and popularly, Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionist, and AMC's The Walking Dead. Taking our 2nd spot is David Henry. David acted as Cory's best friend Larry on the show, and he's had quite the career journey since being the boy who wore the same sweatshirt for 2 weeks straight. Since his time on TSR, David has also mainly starred in Wizards of Waverly Place and How I Met Your Mother, amongst a slew of other successors. He also tried his hand at directing too. In 2018, David was detained at LAX airport due to his possession of a loaded firearm. However, he did eventually eventually walk away scot-free in what was said to be an accidental incident. As of now, he most recently hinted at a potential Wizards reboot. David and Selena still maintain a pretty tight friendship, and the actress even 100% agreed to another version, with David adding that they've already conceptualized their ideas thoroughly. Taking our first spot is Bobby J. Thompson. Bobby starred in That's So Raven as the mischievous young boy Stanley, who also made guest appearances on Cory in the House during his time on Disney. Stanley's TSR stint was for 10 episodes between 2004 to 2006, being Eddie's troublesome next-door neighbor with quite an obsession with Raven. Since this, Bobby has made a number of appearances in shows and films like Just Jordan, 30 Rock, My Baby's Daddy, Cellular, Snow, Full Clip, Fred Claus, Of Boys and Men, Land of the Lost, Imagine That, School Dance, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, A Rich Christmas, Miracles Across 125th Street, and A Family's Fury between 2007 to 2021. Back in 2009, Bobby hosted his very own Cartoon Network live-action TV series called Bobby Says. After a single season, the show was cancelled because of low ratings and negative reviews. However, in 2018, we got to see Bobby on screen again as he joined MTV/VH1's improv and sketch comedy game show Wildin' Out. Bobby was a recurring cast member for the show from season 11 to 15, starring in 14 episodes for his first season, 11 in the 12th, 10 in the 13th, 19 in the 14th, and 24 episodes in his final airing on the series. Taking our 10th spot is actor David Henry from That's So Raven and Wizards of Waverly Place. This star got his Disney start on Raven playing Cory's friend Larry, but he set his quick fame in stone at 18 by portraying Alex's older brother Justin Russo in Wizards of Waverly Place. A little over a decade after gaining his main character in Wizards, David was detained in September 2018 for carrying a loaded firearm into LAX. While addressing the issue on Twitter, David wrote, "I take responsibility for the situation today. I unintentionally brought my legally owned weapon, which is registered in my name, to the airport. I'm so sorry for any trouble it caused, but I'm appreciative of TSA's efforts in implementing the safety laws that are in place to protect our beautiful country. More than anything, I am humiliated and embarrassed that this even happened, but thankful to the TSA, LAPD, and all involved today for their kindness and professionalism during this process." People were the first to report David being charged with, quote, carrying a loaded firearm, carrying a concealed weapon, and possessing a weapon in a sterile area of the airport. In November 2018, TMZ published an article reporting David getting off with 0 jail time for his accidental crime. Rather, he was required to pay fees and fines and take a firearm safety course, while also receiving 2 years probation alongside 20 days of community service. Taking our 9th spot is Adam Hicks, the actor from Zeke and Luther and Lemonade Mouth. Adam's face was a huge staple in Disney Channel's brand between 2009 to 2013. In addition to bagging a lead role on Zeke and Luther and starring in a main part for the DCOM film Lemonade Mouth, Adam was also on their series Pair of Kings and Jonas. Yet in 2018, Variety reported that the actor was incarcerated on suspicion of armed robberies. TMZ, the first news outlet to report the information, alleged that Adam and his partner Danny Timburo would jab firearms in victims' faces and demand valuable items and money. For the case, Adam's attorney indicated the musician had a mental health issue, which resultantly postponed the arraignment so Adam could receive the opportunity for a doctor evaluation. In July 2019, E! News stated Adam, quote, pled not guilty to 3 felony counts of attempted second-degree robbery and 2 felony counts of second-degree robbery. At the time, his bill was set to over $500,000 and he remained in custody. In March 2020, Adam was released on parole, with the judge crediting the near 1,500 days he previously served while he awaited his sentencing. Adam most recently dropped a new song a month ago titled Chosen One. Taking our 8th spot is the Proud Family and That's So Raven actor Orlando Brown. A few Disney stars like Orlando have been arrested multiple times on several counts. Orlando's crimes range from years of felony substance possession, DUIs, and domestic battery charges. In 2018, the actor was captured and arrested by bounty hunters due to a outstanding warrant. As per TMZ, a judge issued a warrant for him last month after he failed to appear in court for allegedly striking his girlfriend. More so, in 2018, Orlando faced another arrest in Las Vegas for burglary, as originally confirmed by Page 6. The former Raven actor stayed in the penitentiary on $13,000 bail, which was stacked on top of bail from his previous arrest charges mentioned prior. Orlando's Vegas detain came only 1 week following his being caught and arrested for attempting to change the locks inside the Legends restaurant and venue, as per TMZ. The eatery was owned by the actor's longtime friend Danny, who alerted the authorities that Orlando's presence triggered the security alarm and alerted his phone. Orlando's excuse to the police was that he was simply there to change the locks, a claim which Danny denied, and therefore led to Orlando leaving in cuffs. Sin City and Orlando share a complicated legal history, as a month prior, the former Disney star was issued a warrant of his arrest following his skipping a county hearing for his possession charges that same summer. Taking our 7th spot is Debbie Ryan. Debbie has acted under a slew of Disney works, landing her royalty status within the studio's Networks brand, including her main show Jessie as the titular character, her start as Bailey Pickett on the Sweet Life on Deck series, and her lead role in Disney's original films Radio Rebel and 16 Wishes. On top of these three, her characters Jessie and Bailey saw numerous crossovers in a bunch of other Disney shows as well. And much like a lot of the other young and desirable Disney it girls, Debbie wanted to pursue music on the side of her acting career to see if she could add to the greatness of those who came before her. However, in 2016, the former Disney actress was charged with a DUI and locked up after she crashed her vehicle. Months down the road, an announcement came that she would serve no jail time but 3 years probation. However, Debbie's success has not faltered very much despite this. She's seen more fame and praise through recent hits like Netflix's short-lived Insatiable and their original Night Teeth. Taking our 6th spot is Andy Mack's Stoney Westmoreland. Fans of the children's show were quick to notice that Andy's dad/grandfather Henry Ham Mack had not made an appearance in the show for quite some time. This was due to his December 2018 arrest, where he was later dismissed from the series shortly after. According to KSL, Stoney was placed behind bars for allegedly arranging to engage in physically inappropriate and immoral behavior online with someone he believed was 13 years old. Deadline was the first to report Stoney being charged with 6 felonies for his crime. Even worse, the arrest took place in Salt Lake City, Utah, according to reports, the exact location where Andy Mack filmed. Not to mention the majority of Stoney's co-stars were minors. Additionally, prior to his role on Andy Mack and several years before its premiere, Stoney had a recurring part on Scandal. Taking our 5th spot is Kyle Massey from That's So Raven and Cory in the House. Much like the celebrity before him, Kyle faced jail time in regard to accusations of sending unethical explicit material to a minor. Being 29 at the time, Kyle was charged with felony immoral communication with a minor in King County on June 14th. Court-obtained documents by TMZ reported that the lawsuit was first presented after an undisclosed 13-year-old girl alongside her mother first brought the legal issue to Kyle in 2019. The March case sought $1.5 million and alleged that Kyle held himself out as a father figure for the young girl in 2018, while requesting to be her friend on Snapchat to eventually send her multiple explicit text messages, images, and videos. Issued notice of arraignment for Kyle took place on June 15th, which was followed up by an order due to his failure to show up to court, as per King County Circuit Court documents. The former Disney star landed himself an arrest warrant for skipping out on the Washington court appearance in regards to his case about his immoral communication with a minor. At the time, Disney's representatives did not immediately respond to the Washington Examiner's request for comment. Taking our 4th spot is Phil Lewis, the actor from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and the Sweet Life on Deck franchises. Long before Phil became the beloved Mr. Mosby in both series, the veteran actor landed a year in jail for reportedly driving while drunk and ending the life of then 21-year-old Isabella Duarte. At the time of his sentencing, Phil was 24 under a manslaughter conviction. Alongside jail time, Phil was also ordered to serve 350 hours of community service and 2 years of probation by Montgomery County Circuit Judge William C. Miller. Phil's intoxication levels were measured 3 times over the legal limit. Judge William Miller noted that the late victim, who previously worked as a Portugal nanny, was not just a statistic. Miller further pushed, quote, "Due to the serious nature of the offense, I feel some incarceration is appropriate." Phil was given another year behind bars from Miller on the original charge to concurrently serve. As for officials, this meant a total serving of 90 days in county jail, 270 days of confinement, 90 more days in the county's halfway house program, and a final 90 days under home detention. Phil stated in court that he understood the terms of his conviction, and his lawyer expressed their plan to not appeal the sentence. Isabel's uncle, Augusto Rodriguez, stated, "There are no winners in this type of situation, but jail time is appropriate because you have to give a message to people out there who are still drinking and driving. It's not out of hate." Taking our 3rd spot is That's So Ravens and Raven Home's Annalise Vanderpool. Similar to Phil in 2006, this actress was detained for driving under the influence and later pleaded no contest to DUI a year after. TMZ reports highlighted her blood alcohol level doubled over the legal limit of 0.08 at a startling high of 0.19. Annalise was arrested in July 2006 following the incident of her colliding with a parked car. The crash created a domino effect according to official TMZ obtained reports, which detailed Annalise losing control of her car and causing the parked vehicle to hit an additional 2 cars. Annalise then traveled across the roadway behind her wheel and hit another vehicle after that. As stated prior, the Disney star pled no contest to her 2 misdemeanors. The LA City Attorney's Office prosecuted the case, and Annalise's sentencing was scheduled for March 19th at the time. According to TMZ obtained documents, Annalise was offered 36-month probation and a fine and assessments penalty of $2,844 by the court. She was additionally sentenced to attendance at an alcohol education program. Taking our 2nd spot is Kelly Berglund. In 2016, the young actress was cuffed at Coachella after she was caught carrying a false identification card. As per New York Daily News, the then 20-year-old actress reportedly attempted to meet up with some friends in a restricted area of the Palm Spring party. However, her plans fell through deeply when the event security noticed her fake ID. Kelly was handed a citation before she was sent back to return to the Californian Music and Arts Festival. Taking our first spot is So Random and Liv and Maddie's Audrey Whitby. In light of the 2016 presidential election, Audrey was one of the few stars during the peaceful protest who eventually wound up getting arrested. Despite the protest arguably not hurting anybody, Audrey took to Instagram to explain how the officers present, quote, pointed batons, tear gas, and non-lethal firearms directly at us. Audrey then added, the irony of what was happening hit me as I shoved my peace sign high in the air. According to the actress, her hands were bound with plastic zip ties, and an officer harassed her with demands wanting to know if she even voted. Audrey later clarified, I was ushered onto the bus and separated from my group. Eventually, the star and her friends were all released after also being slapped with a citation.